gonna say it. We are recording in progress.
There we go.
It is the Dead Air Horror Review Show,
Yeah, it is.
and I am your co-host, TJ, aka El Topo, aka DJ Khaled 2. And to my virtual right is my other co-host, Chris Parks, aka DJ Khaled 3, aka Metaverse Baron Chris.
What did you call Bono? Patio McGillicuddy?
Patio McGillicuddy. Yeah, Bono's legal name. Before we started recording, we were talking about you two, and I revealed that Bono's legal name is Patio McGillicuddy. I'm good. I'm happy.
I'm changing my name to that. Although I
Also,
like DJ Khaled 3, but it makes me seem like a lesser DJ Khaled than you.
we the best music. Also, I just want to get this right out of the way right away. Um, this movie, Apostle, that we watched this week, is directed by Gareth Evans, not to be confused with Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards is the director of Rogue One and the god-awful Godzilla American movie, and he's got a new movie coming out that's called The Creator that looks pretty good, but I don't know. He's very hit or miss with me. So yeah, he also directed a movie called Monsters, which I hated. This Gareth, which I affectionately refer to as the Good Gareth, has directed such films as The Raid Redemption and The Raid 2, which are two absolutely incredible action films that I can't recommend enough. Me personally, I feel like he set the standard for, like, I think everything is every action movie I watch, I compare it to The Raid because it's that good. And the second one's even better. Anyway, we watched Apostle, which is a movie that I constantly want to call The Apostle, but it's just Apostle.
Yeah.
I don't know
or
why.
Apostles.
I always want to. I don't know why I want to put the in front of it. We've done. I think one of my favorite parts about this show is that, you know, we've kind of jumped all over for like different, because horror is a lot like metal music, right? Like there's a lot of different subgenres and subgenres within the subgenre. And this week we've done something that we haven't done before. This is Lovecraftian horror. This is also affectionately known as cosmic horror.
Is that really what it's called? I had no idea.
This
What about folk horror? That's not a
this is
thing
also,
anymore?
I know this could also definitely be considered folk horror, but I think like once this movie kind of reveals like what the deal is, and when you find out, I mean, spoiler alerts for this movie, but when you find out like why the actual crux of this movie, I feel like that the creature that is living in this island and feeding this island is a creature beyond human comprehension. Therefore, it is definitely like a Lovecraftian horror. That is a trope of Lovecraftian horror stories where it's like you as a human being or humanity itself is vastly insignificant to something beyond yourselves. And I feel like the whatever you want to call the like earth spirit thing here, I feel like it definitely falls into that category. I also would agree that it does fall under the folk horror category. Religious horror also, like, very much so. Like, I think this movie is a pretty staunch like anti-religious film. Like, I think it heavily goes into like religious dogma and the, you know, the suffering that religion and like being insanely religious causes people. um Starring
This
Dan Stevens, who I love to death. I think he's
and
great.
Michael Sheen. I was happy to see. I like
Michael
Michael
Sheen
Sheen.
is so good in this
He
fucking
is
movie.
great. Yeah.
He is like, he's so great, and I'm a big fan of him in general. I feel like I wasn't really too aware of him until this movie, to be perfectly honest, and then I was like, oh, I've seen this guy in 1,000 things.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's
I
really,
wish I honestly wish he would have been the main character. I
yeah.
I mean he was so good. Like he was the one that was focused on the most of the movie.
Yeah, and his character is definitely the like one of the more interesting of the villains, because I feel like the guy that eventually becomes like the uber antagonist is just
Mhm.
too evil.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sheen's character he's got layers to him. Like he's misguided, but I feel like at the end of the day, like he's trying to do the right thing. Whereas like the guy behind you, is just like fucking evil and like
Quinn.
evil incarnate. Yeah, Quinn. He's just like super super evil. But then again, I feel like Quinn is again like it is whereas Michael Sheen's character has the power and is trying to like lead people, like Quinn wants the power. He has no real interest in like religion or like helping people. He just wants to have control over everything,
Which you could draw
including
direct parallels to actual
oh yeah,
religions and of the
yeah,
like.
absolutely. Like he wants to control everything, including the fucking earth that they live on, which I think is
Yeah.
a pretty cool statement to make. Like
Quick side
uh
note here. So you
sure.
may notice like these masks that look very similar to a KKK
Oh yeah,
attire.
they're more like
Um,
executioners garb.
execution.
Yeah.
So over we took a family trip last year to
to,
Spain
to to the to
to
the
this island,
to the island
and I
and and
sacrificed my kin. It
yeah,
was
Chris got
a,
lobotomized by a fucking industrial wine cork. Oh,
I
that
got to
scene
meet
is so
Quinn
fucking
firsthand.
that
Yeah,
scene
that
is
scene
so
was
fucking
gross.
disgusting. Oh my god.
But these outfits go way back in time, further
Oh
than
no
I
shit.
even comprehended. I was walking through Sevilla, Spain, and in the souvenir shops, they had like cups, they had shirts, they had all these different things that you could buy that had this look on it.
No
People
way.
dressed up, but in some in black, but mostly like white robes.
Oh, yeah,
And
well,
it was like just like
Goya
anything else.
Goya's from Spain, right?
Correct.
The painter, because like
Yep.
there's like the penitent, that famous painting that he did, and there's a guy wearing one of those in that as well.
Yeah. It's just like anything else, I guess. Somebody takes something and bastardizes it and makes it their own. But it's kind of it's weird to see it out of that
Right, right.
the normal context that we're used to seeing it in the States, and
Yeah, and
like
you're
seeing
like,
it in film or just seeing it walking on the road. In Spain, it's like it's alarming.
well,
It immediately like brings something up.
it's not horror related, but like the reason why the Klan dress like that, right? They didn't start dressing like that until the fucking movie. Jesus Christ, my brain. There's a
Oh,
very
that racist movie.
It's I can't even think of the title, but it's like it was a very famous silent film
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
that
I
they
don't know the
actually
name.
showed on the fucking White House lawn, believe it or not.
Yeah. Oh, I
Um
believe it.
yeah. But they didn't dress like that until that movie came out. They
Yeah.
they did that in the movie, and then they started. I can't believe I can't fucking remember the name of that
We
movie.
don't we don't need to say the name anyway.
Well,
It's not.
very famous movie. The sad thing is that movie has a lot of film historical relevance because it was the first movie to use cuts.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, they were the first. It was the first movie to like use editing like that. Nobody had used that before. Anyway, back to this movie. What'd you think? I had already seen this movie. This is about the third time I've seen this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big
And
fan of it.
uh I thought it was a complete bore. To be quite
Really?
honest, yeah.
You were
I
bored?
I was so bored.
Really?
The last 15 minutes, what culminated in those last minutes of the film, I thought was really cool, well executed, but I wish I would have seen more of that sprinkled throughout the film to kind of
Re-
lead up to that point. It was a lot like a huge climax at the end, and it was very exciting. But for me, there was like I didn't feel too much of a build up to that point.
Oh, really? See,
I
I don't.
just
I
felt like
feel
I was being like dragged like by
interesting.
my wrist like through the movie, like okay, we can make it to the end. And I'm proud of myself for making it to the end, but
Wow, that making it to the end. Wow.
I was so
I'm
bored.
shocked. I mean, I feel like the movie is very tense, and like the constant like I feel like it does a good job, at least for me,
Mhm.
that you don't really know what the hell's going on until like I feel like the reveal of what's actually happening is pretty interesting, because I feel like up to that point, like I think the movie does a good job at like you're completely left in the dark. You're just like the main character, and the fact that like they're looking for him, and I feel like the movie is very tense, and there's I like a movie where there's something just under the surface and you're not sure what it actually is, and everyone has that tension. Like everybody in the town, it feels like it feels like that town is about to collapse like the
Oh, it
entire
is.
time, and you
Yeah.
don't know why. And I feel like the reveal as to why it is about to collapse, I think is very satisfying. Like I thought
Hmm.
that was like very interesting. I didn't see it coming, and I was like, oh, okay, because I thought, it's a religious movie. There's going to be, dissent between the religious people, and it's
Hmm.
something to that effect. But the idea that, it's this little literal like elder god living in this fucking island, I was like, oh, okay, like that's fucking cool. Like I didn't see that coming. Also,
Hmm.
like to me, like I was drawn in by Dan Stevens' character, the lead actor, because I felt like he's he's like clearly broken and you don't know
Hmm.
why, and he's doing opium the entire time, and like
Yeah.
he's kind of like he's kind of like unhinged from the jump. And
He's
then
willing
there
to risk it all. Now, granted, he's risking it for the life of his sister. Like he's going there to rescue her. That's
right,
the aim. Uh, the whole goal of the movie is him rescuing his sister, who's been captured by this cult and is about
yeah,
to be sacrificed.
yeah,
So yeah, it's an interesting take that they made him also a drug addict.
yeah, and
So
and and
he,
also like kind of like almost suicidal. Like
Mhm.
he doesn't really seem to care about much of anything. And then the reveal that he was like a not a crusade, like a missionary,
Mhm.
and was ultimately like just like that scene also is great. Like the flashback scene where he's literally like branded with a cross, and it's just like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Um, I don't know. Like to me, there's just I don't know. It's definitely I can see where it is a slow burn, but I felt like I don't know. I felt like the atmosphere and the acting like kept me drawn in, right? Like, and I feel like it kept it tense enough where it's like, okay, are they going to find him out or what? Because like right off the bat, I thought it was super clever. You know, they get these everybody has to be invited to this island, and he notices that there is a mark on his invite that's not on the other guy. He's talking to one of the other
Yeah.
guys that's on the boat, so him being kind of like a street smart guy, he like switches it, and then as soon as that other guy lands, he's literally like captured, taken away. And I like how they establish like right away, it's like, oh, like they know he's here, they got to
Yeah.
find him. And then there's that scene later on where um there's another spy on the island that is like a spy for like the English government, and that they like he gets like fucking skewered by those like lances. Like I thought
I
that
I thought that was amazing, and I thought
oh my
after
god.
now that you mentioned that this director like had already previously directed these action movies,
Oh yeah,
like it
you
makes
can
sense
see it,
because
you can
why
see
you
it.
could totally see it in the action scenes
And
in this
they're
movie.
the thing, one of the things that I love so much about the Raid and the Raid Redemption and the Raid 2 is that he brings, and I mean it might be silly to say, but he brings a level of physicality to his the martial arts scenes that he does, and in this movie that continues on. Like the lancing scene is like brutal. The scene where the kid fights Quinn is
Mhm.
fantastic. Like you really feel like a lot of weight in that fight, and like you
Yeah.
feel it feels like two guys that are literally trying to kill each other. And I thought that was great.
Yeah,
I
not only does he have a really like keen eye for directing, but like you could tell his specific skill set
oh
is
yeah,
are these action scenes. Like that's
yeah,
where he really shines, and that's where I thought this film did like really well was those scenes. That really pulled me in. The dialogue itself was fine. The thing, that really like kind of threw me off, and I love saying this term because it's your term, but I think
sure,
it's so
sure.
apropos is like trimming the fat. I just felt
Yeah,
like there was a little bit too much fat on this film, and it clocked in. I think at like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It was
it's a
pretty,
little long. You could
yeah.
definitely trim a little bit out of this. I agree with that.
But the so it's for me it's impossible to not compare this to the Wicker Man just because it's like kind
I
of
could
it's got a
I could
similar vibe.
I could see that.
um and I wish in this movie that they kind of, took lessons from that film and made the scene, like the island, more creepy.
Right.
You know, in the Wicker Man, everybody was in on it. Like everybody knew like what was going down.
Yeah.
But in this, it kind of seemed like
I
there
don't
was
think that
factions of
Well, I don't
like,
think that I think the only people that know what's going on in this community are the three founders. I don't think
yeah.
anyone else is
Well,
aware of.
that's what I mean. And it was like kind of like it could have been, the movie could have gone two separate ways. They could have gone like the horror route because they had this character named the Grinder who like um basically he looked like a monster from Evil Dead, you know,
Yeah,
he's
he was
or
like
not Evil, Resident Evil, sorry.
yeah, it was, or I would even go so far as to say like a Silent Hill character.
Oh,
Like he
Silent Hill, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
Yes,
I was
yes,
like,
yes.
what the fuck? And that's you speak about this. First of all, or not first. This is several things later, but this movie is brutal as fuck. Like
Mm-hmm.
that thing's death is insane. Like him
Yeah.
getting hooked on, and well, literally, I think one of my favorite parts of this movie is he's literally got like a fucking sausage grinder, and he's about to grind up Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens is just knocked out, and he's going into this machine, and obviously he's struggling, and he's just kind of like hitting him like, stop it, just get ground up, like literally. And I mean, this is a hand operated grinder, so like
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine a more excruciating death, because you are dying the slowest death
Slow.
possible.
Yeah. The only thing worse would be to go in feet first. Oh, I think, did I lose you? Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay. Okay, let's
You're
pick
gonna have
up
to
again from the Grinder.
Yeah, you're gonna feet first. It's feet first into a grinder,
Okay. The only thing
so
worse
you
would
might have to
be,
use a little editing magic on that one.
yeah, it's fine. I could do one edit. um, are you still there? Oh crap, I
But
think I lost.
I
Oh,
well, no, I'm still here.
okay.
All right.
Um,
The only thing worse, Chris, is what happens to the poor kid when he gets his brain like corkscrewed out like that.
yeah.
Jesus Christ, that scene. And then they edit to his fucking point of view where his eyes get like red. It's like, oh my
Uh,
God.
I mean, to be
Like
fair, they were having premarital sex, TJ.
I,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you
I
get
do
what's
agree with
coming to
that.
you.
Yeah.
What do you expect? You got to take a corkscrew to the brain sometimes if you're
Um I
going to go
also
against the word of God.
Also not the girl that got pregnant, but the Michael Sheen's daughter, that actress. I'm a big fan of her. She's in a movie that I really like called The Black Coat's Daughter,
Mm-hmm.
which I think we might end up reviewing one day on this show. It's a great movie. She also dated Rami Malek, which I think is just weird because that guy looks like Ren from Ren and Stimpy. I don't But anyway, so yeah, I'm just surprised that and I'm sorry that the movie just didn't grab you,
No,
because to me, I
yeah,
was like, I was hooked, because the other thing about this movie that I think that helped keep me not bored is visually it looks incredible. Like this
yeah,
movie
it does look
shot
very good.
really well.
Yeah.
This movie came out, well, it's a Netflix exclusive. This movie came out like right after Netflix offered 4K on their stuff. And this is a
Mm-hmm.
great movie to show in 4K, because like I feel like it's shot really, really well. It looks really cool. I don't know where they shot it, but it looks great. Like I feel like the visuals are really well done.
Yeah, they must
Uh
have had a really solid script um, for Netflix to pick this up before it was even produced. This was like
yeah,
they they you know gave it the green light and were like, okay, go ahead and make it, which is pretty impressive.
especially
Um,
with a guy. I mean, again, like Evans is he's known. Like he's not like, he's not like somebody that like commands like well, I mean, this didn't get released in the box office, but like movie nerds know Gareth Evans, but like I don't
mhm.
he's not like a
He's not a
well-known guy.
household name.
It's not like fucking Martin Scorsese
Yeah,
or some shit.
but let me ask you a
Um
question, if you don't mind.
please.
Do you
I don't at all.
did you feel like at any point like I felt like this was going in too many different directions because you had, or maybe that's what you liked about the film, that there was this internal conflict but also there was this like weird grinder character that was feeding blood of human sacrifices to this
Well, you didn't see the
cosmic.
Grinder character until literally the end of the
The
movie.
end.
Like you didn't
Yeah.
like because up until that point, you saw Michael Sheen like cut his hand and give her blood, and they also like they never do they explicitly say it, but like at the beginning of the movie, they give him. I think they give him like a blanket and a receptacle, and I think it's implied that the receptacle that he actually puts blood in that receptacle, right? Like the
Yeah.
jar that they give him. So they all
Yeah.
are giving this thing blood every night of the week
Yeah.
to survive. Also the little wrinkle that I again I don't know. I like a lot of the little details in this movie. The fact that that thing didn't necessarily need blood, but they were like, well, this is what makes her survive. Like
Yeah.
they kind of twisted it. Like I like how unexplained the like Gaia monster is or whatever. Like she was just there. She just lived on the
Yeah.
island, and then they just enslaved her and fed her blood to like keep her satiated, but like she doesn't really need blood. That's just what they've decided that she eats, which again, that's a kind of a cool that's a cool analogy for religion too if you think about it, right? Like think about all of the death and destruction brought on in the name of religion. Like it's supposed to be about love and peace and being together, but like how much blood has been fed into the machine. I think that's kind
And
of the allegory they're trying to make.
yeah, they completely misinterpreted what was needed in order
Right.
to get by.
Exactly. But to answer your question, no, I like the branching paths because to me that's what kept the movie interesting.
Mhm.
Because I feel like it's pulling you in so many different directions because I feel like it's very unpredictable. Like I feel like it is I think that's what to me that's what kept the tension going because I'm like I wasn't sure what the hell was going to happen next. And then it's like, well, you introduce this crazy shit, like what else is going to come? And then you got the fucking grinder guy and it's like I
Yeah.
missed that.
Yeah, that's fair.
uh
Um,
but yeah, no, I mean I again like, some things work for some people and some for others. But I got really sucked into this movie. I love the vibe of this movie. I like how slow it is at times because I feel like again, I feel like whereas it is slow, I feel like it's tense. Like I feel like I feel like again, at any point this movie could just fall off a cliff and it's like, well, I
mhm.
don't know what the hell's gonna happen next. So
Yeah.
could you cut 10-15 minutes out of it? Yeah, easily. Maybe 20.
Mhm.
But I feel like that about every movie. I mean, I feel like you could cut down. I mean, every movie should strive to be an hour and a half long. That's my personal opinion, but
I think you know what would be a fun little side project, very time consuming, but fun side project is go through all the films that you love and like cut out whatever you think doesn't need to
yeah,
be in there,
I'm not yeah, I would love
and
to
then
do that,
I'll
but
re-edit it
that would
to your
literally
edits.
that would literally take way too much time for a bit. I don't even I'm not a very good at video editing to begin with, so
No, I'll do the video editing. You just do the
oh,
actual editing of the
I'll
script.
literally just like just go through it.
Yeah, with
Okay,
your red
that's
pen. Yeah.
that's fair.
Um,
Um,
okay, so should we do scores? We only got about 5 minutes left.
yeah, let's do scores.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm scared to ask, but go ahead.
I would give this a 6.1. Um, I again, like you had mentioned, the visuals are really good. Um, the writing is fairly solid. It's just too much fat for me on this
Yeah,
one, and I couldn't say. Maybe it's the fact that we've been watching like 1 hour, like to 1.5 hour max
we're
movies for like the
we've been
past
we've
three
been
three or four
watching
months.
really quick movies. I mean, Christ, the bloody bodybuilder in hell was like, what was it,
Yeah,
58 minutes long or
yeah,
something?
yeah. So now anything over an hour and a half, I'm like out. So I got to get back into it. I got to get back into the swing of
Yeah, and
things.
I mean, whatever, it happens,
Yeah.
and it might just again, it might not just clicked with you, sometimes that happens. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
Oh, you know what? I just noticed there's the grinder right there. I didn't notice him before.
Oh yeah, shit, I didn't
What the hell
notice
is he
that.
doing out of his little
Shit,
little
I didn't notice
house?
that either. He's been
Wow.
there the whole time.
All right, maybe I need to revisit it. Okay. Okay, TJ, what's your score?
It's like an 8.5 for me. I really like
Yeah.
this movie a lot. Again, like all the things I've already said, I think that Gareth Evans is an interesting director. I think that he has. I hope he does more horror movies, because between this and his short film that's in VHS 2, I don't know what it's called, but it also involves like a cult. It's like a documentary film crew that
Mhm.
goes to film this cult for TV, and it's like specifically like a death cult. And again, it's very that short is also very Lovecraftian. It's awesome, by the way, and it's, I think, 20 minutes long, but I highly recommend that. I hope that, I just want more movies from him, because I think like he's just I find him very interesting. I think that and again, like, I love the fact that this guy, even though this isn't a martial arts movie, he's got his thumbprint on the fucking martial arts stuff like all over this movie. And I love the fighting, and I love just how extreme this movie can be. Like, I love that it's just so fucking old and violent and gross. Like, I love the fucking visual of that fucking, earth spirit, like
Yeah.
entangled in all the fucking weeds. And when they fucking give her the blood, there's like flowers that bloom out of the fucking
That
weed.
was that
Like,
was cool. Yeah.
shit like that is like, man, that's fucking awesome. Michael Sheen's great in this movie. Dan Stevens is great in this movie. I don't know. I really like it a lot. I'm sorry didn't connect with you.
Yeah, it's
But
okay.
but it happens.
It
All
it
right.
does.
Well,
All right.
that's the show. I don't know what we're gonna watch this week. I was kind of thinking there's a Hulu movie that everybody's talking about now called No One Will Save You. I think maybe we can watch that, since that's like
Okay.
topical. I don't know
Okay.
if it's any good, but people are talking about it. So maybe we'll watch that. But you'll find out next week when we post the episode.
Oh, before we end this, and I know you're going to agree with me on this one because we belong to the same Facebook groups, horror groups. The fucking uh all these ads that keep, or not even ads, these posts that I don't know who is posting these, if they
Yeah.
work for Netflix or Hulu or whatever,
Right.
but they're like, people are running out of the theaters and vomiting. People are saying this is the scariest movie they've ever seen. This keeps
Yeah.
popping up on my feeds and I am so tired of it
Yeah.
because I guaranteed these movies are so bland and
Oh,
boring.
100%. 100% they are. They,
People are
they
screaming and passing out at the sight of this movie. It's like, no, no, they're not.
I want to see
No.
death certificates, like literally post their death. Like, some guy fucking died. You watch this movie and he's fucking dead now. I mean,
That's
but
the only way
that
I'll
the
get.
funny thing is that's not even like new, right? Like,
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of my
Right.
favorite movies of all time. Like, they famously like did the same thing, and they said the movie's based on a true story, and it's not like that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's it's not like new marketing. It's somehow more annoying in the times we live in now.
It's just
Um,
too, it's overused. It's
and my
oversaturated. Every movie is now the scariest movie ever.
It's fucking, yeah, it's like, yeah, stop. It's not. Also, like, the thing I can't stand too is like the ads that aren't really, like, you have to look real close to see that it's an ad, because it's just like a regular TikTok, and it's like, hey guys, like, it's like, ugh, all right,
Yeah.
like, anyway,
Yeah. When can we start getting paid for those?
for real.
I would
I would
happily
take
do one.
take all that corporate money.
All right,
So,
we're
all
gonna
right,
run out of time.
everybody.
Ran over. All
Bye-bye.
right, bye.